Greetings, fellow citizens of White Palm Bay. It's Zombie Chick Hogan here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to Talking Mrs. Bates, the show where we wax poetic about Bates Motel and check in and check out and so on and so forth. Dragon, I'm so sorry I ruined that intro. I'm being silly, but it's the penultimate episode, man. Can you believe it? The penultimate episode, not just of the season, Dragon, but of the entire series.
Yeah, I'm in disbelief.
Do you want to do that intro over really quick? Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to Talking Mrs. Bates, the show where we check into the Bates Motel.
But we don't always check out.
Whoa! Okay, there we go. There we go. It's on record. It's on record. Okay. So, Dragon, we are talking, of course, about Bates Motel, Season 5, Episode 9. It's come to this. It's called Visiting Hours. Dragon, we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. We're going to try not to go too long on it, but I'm sure you've got some fun surprises along the way audio-wise, and we've also got a breakdown of, I think this might be the ending of this episode, Dragon. I'm going to say right now, it might be your crowning achievement in Bates Motel predictions for the entire time we've been doing this. It was so on the money, like beat by beat. I was like, yeah, this is exactly what Dragon said would happen. So we'll get into all that, Dragon. Let's dive right into it. Let's talk about what happened
previously on Bates Motel.
All right.
Okay, so again, Tiki, it's amazing, and I think this is absolutely the last stuff we have from that trailer. It went all the way to episode 9.
Right.
Because we have in the beginning of this episode, we have the cool Norma/Norman being booked, and we have that really cool. And I'm loving this. Like we're playing with the reflective devices and everything. Where Norma's, and now this is a fun reverse. We have some great subtle kind of directing here, some great thematic stuff. With like we're increasing. We're not doing the same trick that we've done before. Like you're making it more and more. It's indicating more and more that Norma's getting more and more control here because now she's the main focus, and now Norman's the reflection. Before, when Norma was the entire reflection.
Right. And in a way, the character of Norman, even though we do see Freddie Highmore in this episode, the acting on Freddie Highmore, it's like a ventriloquist dummy in some ways. It's just like he's there, but he's not there. You know what I mean? It's like you genuinely see someone else.
Yeah, I'll break down the reflection thing. One more thing I noticed about them, one second. So again, Book and Norman, we get the mugshot bit from the trailer, and kind of, I like this. And tell me if you what you thought of this thing. We kind of addressed, because we're coming close to the end for like a final time. We're addressing, and this seems to be a strategic thing on the show's part, that we're addressing the digital age with the whole fingerprint scanning.
I didn't necessarily think of it like the modern age, but yeah, you're right about that. It does kind of tie into like the first episode and like watching the old movies on the DVD player and stuff like that.
Well, I bring it up not purely just the address, like, hey, we're in modern times. Less that, more it's like a final reminder that, hey, our ending will not line up 100% with the film. I think that's kind of the subtle message that, but hey, we're in the remember, folks, it's not the 60s. It's not going to line up exactly. It's like a final reminder going into, like, again, we're reaching the big ending. Everyone knows from Psycho, so it's going to be different. So, relax.
Sure.
That's what I kind of read it as. So last thing is, so in the direction when we're with, I noticed that when we're with Norma, we get Norma, and we see Norma's head on Norman's body. So whenever like we're seeing how she's reacting to something, she's the face we're seeing. But like with the camera, Norman is like he's seeing through the camera because that's what everyone else is seeing. So when someone else is talking, it's going to appear as Norma. When Norma's talking, of course, it's Norma. I know it sounds a little obvious, but even when she's just reacting, even when she's not saying anything. It's like every time we're with her in her head, we're seeing her.
Uh-huh.
That was just kind of a neat little touch, kind of evolution of the madness.
And I really like how throughout this series, or this season rather, we've been getting, like, Norma has, the mother character, we've been seeing Vera Farmiga kind of have this weird transformation in her role on the show where she's, in the early parts of the season, like episodes 1 through 5, she was very much like a different character. You know what I mean? She was very much separated from Norman in a way. Whereas we knew that she was out inside of Norman's head, of course, but they played her like this, her own entity. Whereas going forward, you know, especially like episode 7, like the end of episode 7 onwards through these whole these last 2 episodes and going into the finale, I think it's fascinating the way that they've genuinely made Vera Farmiga and her presence and the mother character internalized within Norman instead of externalized.
It's now even muddier. It's now even muddier to tell who's who anymore. It's like not hard to tell, like, you know, which ones which, because they're so, because now we've established that, okay, you know, they've acknowledged that, okay, you're a side of myself, and it's blending so well at this point. It's going to be even more difficult to tell, like, who's going to come out of this, you know, in the end. Let's see. So yeah, I like that we're keeping the emotion and the stress on Norma throughout the episode with kind of devices like that. So Norma's asking you what's next, and she's asking the processor guy, you know, the guy getting the prints and everything, which, you gotta tell you, nice guy. I like that guy. One could say he's very pleasant.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Dragon, because I kind of had a similar issue to this guy that you had with the
oh, really?
Yeah, because I thought he was just kind of like sloppily, like, giving away information too easily. Like, he was using the term like, oh, well, you know, if you ask me, like, you know, I don't know. It's like, I don't really think it's in his place to be, I mean, yeah, it might be pleasant, but I don't know. I think he was a little sloppy. That's my only thing.
Well, here's the thing. You know why I think I liked him a lot? That I liked him is that we had this exact same scene, Norman getting processed, way back in season 2. Right. And that was with the annoying sheriff's deputy we really didn't like. And it was like, that scene was terrible because she's just not giving him in, she's not telling him anything, but she's really being really rude about it. But now this guy's being pleasant. He's giving more, a little more information they need. So basically, this guy's serving the role of Mr. Exposition. But, you know, it's, I don't know. It was nice that it wasn't like giving, like, kind of, he wasn't being all cryptic and, like, you know, just do what you're told. You know, just give him a little information. I don't think he's giving too much away. Just saying, okay, well, you know, this is the next step logically, but he probably shouldn't have said, my guess, it probably shouldn't have said that. Yeah,
that's what was kind of getting under my skin just a little bit. It wasn't a big issue or anything. I was just kind of like, by the way, Dragon, that little deputy girl that you didn't like, I hope you caught this, the fact that she gets undermined not once but twice in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yep.
Okay, let's see. So basically, our processor gives a breakdown. Essentially, he gives this is cool from a structural place. He's giving us a breakdown of the episode, essentially saying what Norman's going to be going through this episode. So he gives a breakdown that, okay, Norman's going to a hearing, after which he'll be moved within 48 hours to a kind of pre-trial facility. So he'll be housed somewhere. They don't know where. It depends what the judge says. Well, again, it's up to the judge, but he wouldn't count on bail.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now we have the again. I think it's a fair process. Anyways, moving on. So
Dylan's big dilemma.
Dilemma.
Oh God.
Emma arrives to Dylan, much to Dylan's surprise.
Surprise.
Yep, I like.
If only it was that fun. You know what I mean? If only it was under better circumstances.
It would have been more painful if she showed up bringing the bat bagels. But we do have a return of that, by the way, later on, which I was very delighted by. But anyway, so I like this right from the get-go because I was wondering this myself. She didn't leave the kid in the car, did she? No,
we get a Will Ducote mention. Yeah. We live for those. Yeah.
We mentioned Remo. We mentioned Will.
Tying up those loose ends.
Of course, the first thing mentioned is that Katie's with Will, so, you know, all is fine. So then,
hold on, just one sec. Does that mean that Cupcake Boy is the only character that we have to tie up and mention somehow? I think that's it, right? Like, we haven't seen or heard anything about Gunner, so Gunner has to factor in somehow into the finale. Maybe in a Skinny Pete and Badger kind of way. You know,
maybe.
Anyways,
maybe you're onto something. If only we get Gunner a laser pointer, which I believe would constitute a donation.
Like, I could see like Romero, like, you know, forcing Gunner to help him. Anyways, well, yeah.
All right, so then unfortunately it's not a happy reunion because now Dylan has certainty over, oh boy, at least it's not absolute certainty, but it's like, okay, dead body, her mother, been found, most likely of Norman's doing, and has to break the news to his wife. And basically this episode is horrible for Dylan. I mean, it's well acted, not terrible.
It really is, man. It really is. It puts Dylan in an impossible position emotionally, and just like he's within two worlds, just like he was at the start of the show. Your heart really goes out to him.
Oh yeah, it sounds a little something like this, just kind of the beginning of Dylan's sadness this episode. This episode's like kind of like a commercial for depression for Dylan Massive. That's kind of what it is. All right. Well, not literally. It's sad, I should say. Anyway. All right. Nope, sorry. Wrong sad Dylan scene.
Dragon, come on now, come on.
Sorry, it's right here.
They found your mom's body in Falls Lake. She was murdered. I know it was Norman.
A lot of sadness. So,
oh yeah, and this is a very like realistic depiction of a strong marriage just falling apart and maybe having the glue to come back together, but we're not sure. A lot of strong stuff from both Dylan and Emma on this front. Any young Bruce Wayne jokes to make before we leave out, Dragon?
Well, it's yet another MA scene for Max Terriot, because I mean, to break bad news of someone like this, just going through all the sadness this kid goes through, very reminiscent of a young Bruce Wayne.
Oh God. Okay, we did it.
So following, and basically you went to gut punch them, and you just kind of process. Got our worst fears were confirmed, and she's been looking for kind of confirmation on that. Now she's like, hey, I'm here to provide moral support for Dylan. And then like, oh no.
Right,
it all goes downhill, and this whole episode, this marks the beginning of the end for Dylan. That's kind of what this scene marks.
Sure.
All right, so then we have, oh God, I love this scene.
Okay, yeah, it's very much reminiscent of Breaking Bad, I feel like, Dragon, don't you?
Yes.
Kind of like the crime scene over the happy-go-lucky, like, oldies music.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, here we have, and basically after watching this scene, I got such a hankering for not only some Bobby Darin, but Beyond the Sea, a movie I recommend everyone check out with Kevin Spacey in it.
Right.
So, again, we just have irresponsible for, we're kind of avoiding music, so we're not going to play it, unfortunately. But, go me, irresponsible, go me. It's great. So basically, this whole sequence, we open after that gut punch. We open on the motel. We see the motel just being covered by sheriff's deputies and officers all over the place, looking for evidence, and forensics guys. It's a brilliant device to infuse some artful humor into our last two episodes, which has been promised, by the way. It's been promised the last episode, as serious as the circumstances might be, it will have a lot of laughs in it, according to the creators.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like the, like you said, just the dichotomy between, like, and first of all, I love how this is the main set, right? Like, this is it, the title location of the whole show,
mm-hmm.
and it's it, man. Like, we're done. It almost feels like although granted, I feel like we'll come back to the hotel for the finale. We'll get into that, but it almost kind of feels like a funeral for the location as a whole.
It's like, just think about it. Norman's been away, and this is we visited the motel at the beginning of last episode when he's being because that's where they started the conversation. So this is like the last way we're kind of shoehorning in the
right,
kind of the last time we're keeping the motel as a set piece. And again, it's just, for me, I'd tell you, it's the perfect music choice. Because not only is Bobby Darin just kind of great for any occasion, but it's really catchy. And again, what essentially it is, it's kind of a tour of the motel as a crime scene, and it's sort of like it's
kind of reminds me of the
like
trailer a little bit, the Psycho trailer.
Yes, a little bit. It's framed like that, absolutely. Yes. So what it's kind of great about that, you're right. With the tour, it is very much like crime scene, like that trailer. It's I love that we only get a glimpse of. It's really funny that this scene right here is kind of what we get a glimpse of at the very end of Psycho when we're back in the motel as a crime scene. We never got to see what happened after they're getting the cars out of the lake. So this is kind of like what if we saw past the ending of Psycho. It's kind of what this scene is. It's kind of like, okay, this is like the full ramifications. Okay, dead bodies were found at this place. We got to search the whole place for clues.
Right.
So it's kind of a great sequence to do that, kind of a great peek of what we haven't seen from Psycho. And I just love with the music choice and just how this whole sequence is laid out and everything. It feels like such a great. It's like a Vegas build to the ending, to our climate. It's like the best penultimate opening you could have had. It's like a Vegas build to okay, folks, we're saying goodbye to this location, and we're also just kind of that's kind of what it is. It's like it's the great kind of beginning of the end.
Yeah, I mean, it very much does share some qualities with, the show, the aforementioned show, where we're getting into that location. It kind of reminds me of the condemned house at the beginning of Breaking Bad season 5 in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more peppy in the depiction of said house.
Yep, I love that.
I love how someone refers to it as an interactive museum.
True. Yes. Speaking of that, what gets us to that shot really cool, really in a cool way, is that again it provides more fire for my sheriff theory. That again, the sheriff is very much like Norma mixed with Romero, because the way we go up into the house is through the classic window shot with Norma, but instead of Norma, it's Sheriff Green.
Yeah, I did. I kind of caught up on that too.
Then they comment on the dust. Yeah, it's so dusty yet lived in. Again, then you have the kind of the museum comparison.
Mm-hmm.
I love the booties detail. The fact they're wearing the plastic, like the paper shoe booty things.
Yeah.
Let's see. So then they have kind of the someone's been sleeping in this bed moment where they realize, hey, Romero's been sleeping in my bed.
Oh God.
No, this bed's too small. This bed's too stiff. This bed's just right for Romero's, and Romero's gone.
Okay, so let's talk about the deputy girl being upstaged for the first out of 2 times this episode.
Yeah, you start.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if she's a deputy or not. I'm just calling her deputy because she reminds me of that character. She reminds us of that character, I guess.
Well, I'm sorry, real quick before I just want to also I love that we're seeing the photos of Norma and Norma again. This is going to be something we're going to see with Dylan later on. Like
sure.
Kind of at this last glimpse that we're seeing all the photos of Norma and Norma we've gotten to see in the first season, especially in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
okay. So, anyways, we see our deputy, and she's digging up a suitcase, and she calls it in. She's like, "I think we just found Audrey Ducote's suitcase." And meanwhile, there's another officer who's in the basement who makes a much bigger discovery.
And we know it's in the basement.
Right. And so he's like, "Oh, I think I've got that beat. I think I've got it beat by a mile."
And they find a dead Hogan.
A dead Hogan. My dead body kind of smells like boar jerky.
Tell me this. What did you think of the E.T. dress forensic guys?
I thought it was kind of fun. It also kind of reminded me of the hazmat show suits from that show. You know what?
Right.
I'll go ahead and.
I shouldn't say forensic. Well, technically they're forensic guys. More so they're criminalists. Criminalists are the guys who collect the evidence. Forensic guys that will put it back to the lab.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting look, and you're right. It does kind of have that kind of EP like 80s sci-fi vibe to it.
Yeah. All right. So after the upstaging, which is really funny, and you're right. Yeah, we do it twice with that. I don't know if I brought just undue hate on that character. Again, it's just the fact that I wasn't crazy about it. She's getting kicked around this episode. It's kind of funny. All right, so after they find Chick Hogan's corpse,
yes,
we see Romero in Norma's car, which brings with it a bitter irony, of course, which sounds a little something like this. Just bitter irony.
Nice.
The fact that Romero's driving, I like that Romero's just clinging to any symbol he has of Norma's. I think that is an enduring quality. I like that we're using the car in this last one too. It's these last ones.
So Dragon, thank God that So Sad isn't ajar this season, because oh my God, this Dylan and Emma stuff breaks me, man. It breaks me. It tears me apart.
You're tearing me apart, Dylan.
Okay, you're the one that made the written joke, not me. Anyways, so Dylan and Emma, my God, it's just a breaking point, man. And like they're so understandably like not on each other's wavelengths with this, and it's painful for them to be around each other, but at the same time, it's painful for them to know that they're not a comfort to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that
man.
Emma, I just love how in disbelief, I like how the scene starts. Emma's just in pure disbelief, just, again, kind of commenting on the events. He's saying, well, I can't believe it. I just can't, this isn't real. This isn't happening. Dylan feels guilty, and he just only wanted happiness for him. Again, that's why they got out of town. That's why they kind of separated themselves from all this darkness, and they've been pulled into it like quicksand.
Sure.
Again, I love that Emma's, as much as I love Emma in this, as much as we collectively love Emma in this episode, I do have...
There's like one or two moments, I'll agree, there's one or two moments where she's a little bit Skylar White-ish.
You see what I'm not crazy then, you see it too,
No,
right?
no, I do see it, yeah.
Honestly, I have two moments. There's about two moments I got to, and maybe they're the same ones, maybe not. One's in this scene, I think it's in the scene. Yeah, the first one's in the scene. So, okay, let's see. So I just want to make sure I get it right here. So so I like that Emma's accepting responsibility, that she sought out Norman, she befriended Norman. So he was so nice when I met him. Let me play a little bit of it here for you, and we'll talk about it. Does that sound okay?
Sure.
Okay.
So sorry, Emma. I never wanted to bring you anything but happiness. It's beautiful. Yeah, bring Nora into my life. It's so sweet in a minute. Nora is sweet. It's just if it was mine. Does that make it better for me? Of course not. He's cool. Stay and take care of my mother's body. I don't know if we're gonna make it through this time. I can't promise you. I understand. Please don't talk to me about having sympathy for Norman. I really asked him to get out back together.
So,
Is that one of your Skylar White moments? The whole don't talk to me about having sympathy for Norman.
Yeah, that's definitely the first one for me.
Okay.
Well, less the sympathy, more the whole killing threat.
Dragon,
that seems out of character.
Let me talk you through that. Let me talk you through that a little bit. I was right there with you the first time I watched that episode. I was like, really, Emma? That does seem out of character. Having said that, I think by the time we get around to Emma actually encountering Norman this episode, and by all intents and purposes, Dragon, I think this is the Emma-centric episode of the season. I think this is very much Olivia Cook's kind of swan song for Bates Motel. So she's got a lot to do this episode, and I think a lot of the point of this episode does come around to her initial reaction to it, to where she ultimately ends up with Norman. And I do think I give the writing a lot of credit from getting us to point A to point B. I kind of agree with you, though. I kind of wish point A wasn't as drastic as it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Again, the end goal, what gets us to that scene, that's where it shows progression. So I'm not faulting for that. I'm saying I just wish it's like the certain word choices, the accentuate.
No, I hear you.
Because here's the thing, it just eats away, man. It makes me sound like a terrible person, but I mean, come on. As Norma points out later on, she made her bed with her mother. First of all, Emma wanted to separate ties, so I mean, she wouldn't have even known had Dylan not told her. I mean, because she didn't want to know.
Not to mention, Dragon, the thing that's most importantly,
it
was a nice girl. You know?
But again, the mother left her. There's not really any warm and fuzzy feelings there. It was like the maybe. That's why she's mad. Kind of the maybe we could have patched things up. And again, it's like you decided to sever ties. I understand you're upset, but still, let's not go the whole. Oh yeah, let's kill him.
No, I hear you. But like I said, I think at least what the writing was trying to play it off as was kind of like a in the heat of the moment first response to the whole thing. So.
Right. Then that's sure, that's understandable. Again, I like that with the writing with her, I do like that she's accepting responsibility, and Dylan's very understanding. He's like, he understands where she's coming from. He's not like getting into a fight with her. And Dylan's very smart and receptive. Really well written in that.
Very smart and stoic and receptive, much like
a young Bruce Wayne.
Okay,
let's see.
I think at this point we just have to have the obligatory YPW for each Dylan scene, like at least one.
So Dylan understands, and Emma, she can't have sympathy for Norman, but again, she's still going to be there. I love that Dylan's just kind of begging her to be there.
Mm.
Okay, let's see. So then we have Norma and Julia, which, by the way, we got confirmation in this episode. It is pronounced Julia. I thought Norma was mocking her, but no, actually, it's actually. Here's the funny thing: is that it's actually Norma showing great respect to her instead of calling her.
You know what? I think it's funny because I read it as Norman was trying to be rude to her, but actually calling her by the name that is the correct pronunciation. I don't know, because he did say it was sass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm now reading that as like, okay, Norma's presenting her with some respect.
All right. Anyways, we see our favorite deputy be downsized once again. She's just ordered.
I think it's completely again. She might be a nice person for all we know.
I'm gonna count that.
A nice girl to be more exact.
Oh, darn it. Okay, so she's ordered to take the handcuffs off Norman, and then she's like, "Oh, I'll be in the other room if you need me." And then I don't know what Julia says. She's something to the effect of like, "Oh, how comforting."
Our little punching bag. So,
right?
Again, unfairly though. It's just like I don't know. It's just she's gonna
Carrie. Hey, Carrie. These talking Mrs. Bates guys, they really don't like this blonde deputy. I think we better go in this week, add some last-minute pickup shots, and add them in. Carrie, come on now, let's do it. Previously on Bates Motel.
Oh god. Anyway. Okay. Let's see. So basically, what goes on in this scene is been preparation to sign some legal documents and everything. They're kind of talking options. They're discussing what their options are. So there's an acknowledgement that you're on Norman more specifically, he's in a tough spot. The next step is the preliminary hearing to judge if the case goes to trial or not. Most likely it is going to be trial, but there's preparing for all possibilities, which includes the worst, which would be trial. So they're kind of working on their legal strategy, which Norma very steadfastly is saying no insanity plea, because of course what we know she and Norma, especially she, really don't like.
You mean an institution? A madhouse?
Yes. It's very
nice.
It's a big no-no to the Bates Brew. Very big anti-institution. And I love that we actually get that mention here. It kind of starts off a little like this, just kind of a mention of this new legal strategy. We got a strong case for the insanity plea. We got a really strong case for Norma's reaction.
So I spend the rest of my life in an institution, probably, yes. I don't like it. I don't blame you. Well, I wasn't in my right mind when they questioned me. I asked multiple times for medication. They never gave it to me. And that sheriff agreed. She hated me the moment she met me. It's like I smelled bad to her or something. It's weird. She's so weird. It's inappropriate.
She's so weird.
Look at it. I love that you're getting us some comedy in these serious circumstances.
I feel like that's like one of the last times we'll see like classic Vera Farmiga like sass. Like she's so weird.
I don't know. Again, I've heard it promised in this lesson. We're still gonna.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There is promise for the final episode. We'll see how that goes.
But we also just the. She's just the smell of all things she could have gone with.
Smells weird.
It's like if she thought I smelled weird or something. The Sheriff Green has his vendetta against Norman purely because he smells funny. Oh God, just really.
Which, of course, the irony of all of this is I think you and I, like, we've been on somewhat different prisms when it comes to Green and her skepticism of Norman early on. But I think at the end of the day, Dragon, Green was on Norman's side, like, when they first started out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Again, I still think for the longest time she was still on Norman's side until the call came in. Honestly, that's what I'm still coming down on. Let's not argue semantics. So, so as they're preparing for the trial, we're going to go over the plans. So again, just to remind the folks that they're Ramos asked Norma if the insanity plea is on the table, and she reminds her.
I already said I would.
Just to put it in perspective there. So then, just as the conversation unfolds, Norma brings this really nice conversation up. She goes in this really nice kind of monologue, I guess, brief monologue.
Are you a mother? No. Do you want to be a mother? No. As far because you seem like to succeed, to win. Yeah, being a mother is an impossible job to win. We'll take it one step at a time, okay? One step at a time closer to hell.
So as we can tell, Norma's legitimately worried that things aren't going to go their way because, again, she really does not want to go for the whole. She'll be eradicating herself if they do the insanity thing.
Which is really interesting because, like, do you think in her own mind, like, with Mother, do you think that the death penalty would be a better option than because with Mother, of course, the mental institution would be the death penalty for that character.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the interesting question to ask in that case. It's that, well, it could be Norman's kind of desire to, again, Norman has contemplated suicide and kind of contemplated, well, he deserves to die for the stuff he's done. And maybe that would be, and mainly the main reason, because remember at the end of last season, he was going to shoot himself when he figured out when they put together what happened, the fact that he's not going to be with his mother anymore, and the fact they kind of tried to, off each other together. Looking at it that way, it's that, okay, the death penalty would be the way to reunite mother and son again.
Sure.
And the other factor that would be that as the reason Norma's vehemently denying the institution aside from just she be gone and Norma be around would be again she wants him to be it. She's self-sabotaging herself possibly. Let me say it's a possibility, but regardless, she doesn't want Norman to exist in the world without her. That's kind of it's self-preservation convinced to be at the benefit of someone else. It's like really, again, Norma's not even on the same page as Norman anymore. It's like, oh God, it's like they're so again much as she is Norman, it's so terrifying. As much as she is Norman, she's kind of become her own entity, taking more and more control. It's like she's lying to herself, which is Norman. It's not just like lying to Norman; it's like lying to herself, which is herself. Let's see anything major. So okay. So again, they have a legitimate chance to like throw the confession out, but still, like a lot of the physical evidence of the dead bodies that have been found really is not boding well. So things aren't looking good. Okay, let's see. So following that,
Emma's on the phone with her father. Of course, Will, not taking the news lightly, wants to bring Katie over there. Emma's very much pleading over the phone to Will. Here's another line I wasn't crazy about, Dragon, how Emma's like, if you love me and you love Katie, you won't bring her here. I'm like, I don't know, Emma, that's a little harsh. Come on.
Yeah, but to be fair, it sounds I agree to a point there. It didn't bother as much as the other bit in this scene. There's a bit in the scene. Well, sorry, not this scene. In a later scene that really bothers me.
Okay.
But let me see. All right, I get where you're coming from because I don't think it's for the same exact reason. The thing that bugs me about this slightly is the fact that she's making it sound like it's a do or die situation. And yeah, Norman's locked up. You see, he's not getting out of there. So it's like she's making it sound like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
she's making it sound like a Walter White calling his family when he driving down the road like Mach 5, just like telling me, Skylar, Skylar, if you love me, take care of Junior. There's something along. Yeah, it's not the exact same line. I'm just, you know what I mean. It's like,
right.
yeah, it's like when he called and told her that he loved her. You know, saying,
Oh,
"You just
God.
don't know that you and it's making." She's cranking, like Emma's cranking up to. It's like the Breaking Bad level there. So let's count that all as one by.
Okay.
All right, let's see. So again, Dylan's then just trying to kind of deflate her do or die mode right there. Just trying to say, no, look, he's not going to escape. He's not dangerous to that level. Of course, Emma then kind of throws it in his face. Hey, killed my mother.
Oh.
Which I'm surprised Dylan doesn't just fire back. Well, yeah, he killed my mother too. To be fair, they don't know. Dylan still doesn't know that 100%. It's pretty likely.
I would say that would be a pretty funny bit of like dark comic irony right there. Come on, he killed both our moms. Leave me alone.
Yeah. So Dylan suggests like, hey, let's bring the baby. You know, let's calm things. And then Emma's really kind of squashing Dylan. I think Dylan's absolutely in the right. He's being very understanding. He's being very
and I definitely think Emma is very much like. The writers are playing it off like she's just reacting very harshly to her mother. But like I said, Dragon, and like you pointed out, I think the problem here is it's not exactly like, I don't know, it's interesting because, it's like I wouldn't know what it was like, obviously, to lose a parent that I wasn't particularly close to. But there's been definitely like 3 or 4 deaths in the family of family members I haven't been particularly close to, and it certainly didn't stun me or affect me on that level. Granted, no murder was involved. I'm talking myself into a corner. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so the point is, Dylan understands, and Emma's just really kind of on the defense. What's kind of cool, and I've been kind of saying this since the beginning, and it kind of comes to fruition here. Not to the level I was expecting, because we have to, Emma. Emma gets an episode here, but she hasn't really been in the season throughout. But she's been here and there. The thing is, Emma here is kind of being an overprotective mother, kind of like Norma. It's kind of the Emma becoming more like the actual Norma Bates instead of the mother.
Okay, and it's interesting that you bring that up because I definitely see Dylan kind of retreating into the whole, like puppy dog wanting to please his wife sort of husband role, which. Of course, could be very, very reminiscent of a mother-son relationship in some ways.
Yeah, just kind of always trying to get Norma's love.
Yes. So yeah, I did pick up on that, Dragon, for sure.
So anyway, then as this is going on, then Julia arrives at a bad time.
Oh God, very, very bad time.
So Dylan tries again. Dylan respectfully, very smartly. Again, Dylan's playing neutral very well. He's trying to stay out of the case. He did what he did to help his brother. So like that, the gears are in motion as far as he knows, and he's just trying to pacify his wife. And Emma's
like a young Bruce Wayne. He's trying to be Switzerland in this situation.
Exactly. So Emma's. Again, Emma's understandably upset, and I like that she's smart enough to realize she's made Julia's job harder, and she apologizes. Well, she acknowledges that I've made your job harder, and I understand that.
Yeah, but another thing that it kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit is like Emma's just like, oh, you're gonna talk about Norman's defense. I'm like, well, yeah, Emma, that's that's kind of the point of a lawyer. Don't be so over dramatic about it. I don't know. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit.
Honestly, the thing that bugs me more in a scene or two from now with Emma, but it's introduced here. The idea she's just kind of announcing Norman's guilt all over the place, which really bugs me.
I see what you're saying there too. Yeah,
it gets worse later on, but here it's again, here it's like, okay, she's understandably upset, and then, she should. You're right, though, T. She should expect, okay, the lawyer coming by is going to talk about the case. So
yeah, it's like, no shit. Don't be like pissed off at Dylan because of that. You know what I mean?
It's not his fault. He said it wasn't.
That's what bothers me. That's exactly what bothers me is that she takes it out on Dylan. She's just like, oh, great, way to go, Dylan. I don't know.
Now, to be fair,
I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but
I'm going to say this. T, I think you're making excellent points, but the thing we got to keep in mind, the thing we got to do to kind of ease off some pressure on them on both of our fronts here is the fact that Emma, she wait, I just had it. Dylan. Oh, right. As we're going to see later on, especially with Madeline, is that Dylan does have to shoulder some blame here for keeping secrets.
No, that's true. That's true.
And that's the thing. It's going to be brought up more eloquently with Madeline, but here with Emma, it's like that problem just kind of being shouldered on Dylan. Dylan's just kind of taking. Basically, Dylan's prepared to take the punishment. That's why he's just kind of taking it in stride. It doesn't make him feel good, but he's taking the punishment for, yeah, I could. Again, it's Dylan furthermore kind of beating himself over. I should have remained in White Pine Bay. Why was I foolish enough?
I think that's definitely like, it's not so much like he knew about Dylan, he knew about Norman, and he could have done something. I think it's way more like, I shouldn't have removed myself from the situation, because doing that just made it worse.
Exactly. It's like it's kind of the young Bruce Wayne kind of guilt thing of like he's blaming himself for things that is not his fault. Of just like, again, you did all you could, and you're compounding it upon yourself. It's like driving in there. If only I did this. Why did I think I could have a life?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so then conversation with Julia. The reason Julia is there is for a very important reason, not just to kind of say, hey, let's talk about your brother. It's for actually a plot reason. So Julia informs Dylan that Norman could get the death penalty. Goes real serious big boy talk here, folks. Goes a little something like this.
They've charged him with a capital offense, Dylan. Do you know what that means? That means he could be facing the death penalty. Lethal injection. You know, it's one thing to wish your brother dead and another one to have it happen. What do you want? Norman has a preliminary hearing tomorrow. I've heard his charges are public, so I'm anticipating an audience, and it would look really good for him if you were behind him. Literally. I'll hold a seat for you behind the defense table.
I had to tell my wife that her mom was dead this morning, and that my brother allegedly killed her. I can't do what you're asking.
Yesterday you told me your brother belonged in a mental institution. You said, "Oh, bad, he's just crazy," and I thought that was really persuasive. I believed you. I believe you even now more that I've met Norman. But you know, no one's gonna want to see his illness once they see the evidence of his crimes. They need to see his connection to humanity, and you might not like it right now, but that's you. You are what he's got. Sorry, big brother. Sometimes it sucks to be family. Hearings at 1 p.m.
So again, this is a really great scene for Dylan, I thought. And again, this is like kind of the Dylan kind of putting all this guilt to use, and that yes, you realize it's a tough spot you're in, but you're the only hope he has. Your brother's going to die. If there's a very strong likelihood your brother's going to die if you don't help him out.
Dragon, I like how this episode kind of supersedes our expectations a little bit with Dylan, as we'll get into it, because right now what Julia is presenting Dylan with is essentially a moment of change. And of course, in classic narrative, I would say Dylan does not take that moment of change by the end of the episode, which is kind of a tragic and unexpected turn to make with the Dylan character going into the final episode.
Now specify, when you say not taking his moment of change.
I would say not sitting behind Norman and kind of leaving the courtroom as soon as his name gets brought up. Basically not being behind Norman is like that's him not taking his moment of change.
Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Right. And I love just kind of the YBW call of it all right here. Just like, come on, Dylan, help. You got to help save your brother here. It's just that call to action. You're right, the heroic moment of change. That's absolutely
right. I mean, let's just call it what it is, right? Like, Julia's essentially being Dylan's Gordon at the moment.
Yeah. Or more accurately, Harvey Dent, but But yeah, seriously, I just love this. I just love Dylan being presented with this option to save his brother. It's really, and how it pays off. So again, Dylan's been presented with a big opportunity. He's got this. It's like the only chance for Norman, which we know Dylan cares very much about his brother. As we've seen with Emma, Dylan's the happy life that Dylan's been going after is severely impacted because of Norman, because he went back.
Of course.
So then we have Dylan. Dylan comes bearing coffee and bagels again.
Oh man!
Which I'm sure his master, if he's the Padawan to his Fortean master. Sounds a little something like this.
Yeah. Right.
Emma's heading down to Wilcox Funeral Home, a place we've been before.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember.
Anyway, so Emma's heading down. Dylan's being very supportive. With he's asking.
He wants to come with her, and she just wants to be alone, essentially.
Yeah, and she asks if he's going to the hearing, and I love this. He offers like, I won't go if you don't want me to.
Yeah, but again, Dragon, I feel like that's kind of like the motherly thing we're talking
Yeah.
about. Of he's kind of just desperate with Emma right now, and he wants to do anything to please her and to make her happy. And I think that's kind of a dangerous path to go down, especially for a woman who, at this point, is just disappointed in you and wants to see the true side of you, and not just, like the hey, let me do anything to make you happy in this moment in time.
It's very funny that with one brother we have kind of the extraordinary kind of son trying to please the mother, and with the other one we have the more realistic, relatable, like every son trying to kind of make the mother happy. Or like it's like when you taking care of a mother was like reaching kind of the old age home phase, where it's like, oh no, it's just he's never happy, never satisfied, that sort of
Sure. Oh God.
that's kind of what Dylan's in right now. He's just trying to make Emma proud for boy.
Oh man.
Sorry, folks.
Oh Jesus Christ. Let's keep that to a minimum if we want to make this under 2 hours, please.
That's just a carryover from another show, folks.
Wow.
Sorry.
Oh wow.
Anyway, so
I am honestly surprised we haven't made that song a running thing on this show before. It would fit so well.
anyway, so let's see. So so just got lost with that gag here.
I think we're at the funeral home now, unless there's anything else to go over with Dylan and Emma.
Right. Okay. So we're at the they kind of go separate ways. I can't tell you how to handle your family, and then we have Emma at the Wilcox funeral home. This is what bugs me with Emma.
Okay. Hit me.
So first of all, we see Sam and Sable. I like Sable. By the way, I remember back in season 4, I thought, Sable would be might be a decent match for Norman. She seems to be a.
She's a very nice girl.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Seriously,
Right,
I thought it would be a decent match. She likes doing kind of taxidermy on human bodies. It'd be the evolutionary step for Norman. She handled his mother. Again, there'd be an instant connection.
Oh dear. Oh geez, that would turn Norman on. Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh God.
Look at me.
Boy.
I brought that up last season. You thought it was crazy, but now you see it a little, right?
I mean, considering what we've been through this season, yeah, I can kind of see it a little bit. Anyways.
Anyway, the point is, it's nice to see these kids again. I really hope their father's okay, because he said he was going to hand the business over to him. I hope he hasn't passed away.
Like I said, Dragon, the one loose end we need to tie up is Cupcake Boy.
True.
Everything.
Yes. Wait a minute. Cupcake Boy murdered Mr. Wilcox. No. So Emma's. Yes, I love that Emma's the polar opposite of Norman. That she's requesting cremation.
Right.
And she opts for the cremation instead of she's all for moving forward versus kind of celebrating the past. Because Emma's had a crappy life. Let's face it, she's had a horrible life. This poor kid. So then she asks if Norma's buried here. She wishes to pay her respects because Norma was more of a real mother to her, which is nice. And again, it's continuing the thing we've set up ever since the first season of Bates Motel.
The scene's going so well at this point. It's going so well.
Honestly, right. It's brought up here where
it is. It very much is.
Unnecessary. This is the Skylar White moment that she has.
Right.
Where she mentions, Norman Bates came. Basically, she's buried on property because came with Norman Bates' barrier here, and then it's brought up. Basically, she unnecessarily throws Norman under the bus. He killed his mother, right?
Yeah. You're right. It's just unnecessary. It's just like, okay.
Why would you bring that up now? Why are you depressing everyone? It's already a funeral home. Everyone's depressed enough already, Emma.
Right.
Come on.
No,
why you got rubbing?
I hear you.
Plus, again, it's innocent until proven. We of course know he's guilty, but that's not the point. You see what I mean? Yeah, it's like. Plus, look, I know you're not supposed to be a champion. You don't have to bring up like, hey, I'm going to slander the guy. Even though I'm talking about how much I loved his mother.
Oh God.
Slander.
No, that is kind of the thing that bugged me about it too. Now that you mention it, is it's like kind of like talking crap about Norman while praising Norma in the same breath.
We literally just could have edited that part out, and then the rest of the scene would have been really beautiful.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Like, she was more of a mother to me than my own mother was, and then cut to Emma at Norma's grave. That would have,
really impactful seeing Norma's grave again, seeing Emma visit Norman's grave. Because usually bad things happen to people when they visit Norma's grave. By the way.
Do you think we saw any sort of reaction to Emma seeing the melodramatic headstone? I was kind of looking for that a little bit.
Well,
I didn't see anything myself in the acting, but I was kind of. What do you think?
a part of me would like to think that she's getting emotional because she's reading it. I would like to think.
Okay, right.
And
right.
maybe on some level, reading that is like kind of reminding her of the niceness that's lurking beneath Norman.
Sure, I could see that.
It's a maybe. I'm just saying she's going to be kind of motivated as I'm just like, it's maybe we're building upon something. It's optimistic,
Because my idea was that I actually like where you're going. Because what my idea was is that it'd be more of a shocking, like, oh my god, this is like way like it all makes sense now. He was like way too tied to Norma, and they kind of ended each other. But no, the way you phrase it is definitely like, yeah, it might be that, but it's also like she sees a beauty in it as well. Like, like as Chick Hogan would say, like she killed her and he killed her and he loved her.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh yeah. So let's see. So following the grave visit, we had this is a great little scene. Again, this is like proof again of Terriot acting so well without saying a word.
Right.
And again, very much in the vein of a young Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Absolutely, because he's doing it all the time. He's making these big brooding decisions. And he's always seriously, this scene is really well done. And he's just looking on his phone. He's seeing a picture of from the good old days with Norman and Norma.
Uh-huh.
And then he's basically looking at the old family versus the new family. The new family being he, Emma, and Katie.
Right.
Basically, I kind of wrote in my notes here 3 exclamation points. Emmy. No, seriously, I did really. It's Emmy. It's right there.
Okay. Let's see. This scene kind of confused me just a little bit, Dragon.
Well, he's making his heroic choice. That's what he's doing. That's why he's
No. I'm not talking about that scene. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. With the Romero at the gas station scene is what kind of confused me.
All right.
But you're right about that, though. You're right about that. Yeah, he sees the picture of Norman and Norma, and he's like, gosh darn it, I have to spring into action and do something.
Again, without saying, just that feeds into the YBW right there.
Yep.
That's what that feeds into. Just had to say it. Sorry. Okay, so that's it. So then Romero needs...
It's like a reflex for you. You just can't let it go.
But he is! Come on! It's like he's brooding! He's brooding!
All right. We have to count it now. Now that you brought brooding into it.
Anyway, so Romero needs gas.
Yeah, this is a very puzzling scene to me, Dragon. Like, Romero is pulling up to a gas station. He's got Beach Boys, like, blaring on his stereo, which I approve of, by the way. That song is the first song off of one of the best albums of all time, the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds.
Again, it's kind of in the vein of the Bobby Darin. Like happy music over really
a little bit, yeah. But what perplexes me about this scene, Dragon, is first of all we get this guy, this really uncomfortable small talk about like if Romero's car is a 68 or a 69, it seems like Romero is just very paranoid about what about people recognizing him. But my question, Dragon, is like, why would he be pulling up with that Beach Boys music blaring and drawing attention to himself like that? It's a perplexing scene to me.
Well, 2 things.
Yeah.
I just want to ask, are you absolutely sure it wasn't the other car playing the Beach Boys?
I am pretty sure it was his car playing Beach Boys music.
Well, I think the reason he's playing the Beach Boys is because that's just like Norma had happy stations on her radio in the car, so she's... It's kind of like him, again, trying to be in tune with Norma as much as he can. He's in her car. That's why I like to think he's playing the Beach Boys. It's kind of like a little compulsion.
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, with the whole scene, the reason the way this gas station scene goes, I love that it's very Psycho-esque with the paranoia.
It is a little bit. I can see that.
Yeah, again, wouldn't it be nice? And basically, it's the life that Romero could have had with Norma. It's like the worst possible song for Romero, like the most painful. I just imagine like a deleted scene, a black comedy scene.
If we were older, then we wouldn't have to wait so long.
It's like this would be like in a black comedy. What they would have had in the scene is Romero driving, like crying, like an over the top.
I can see that.
Why? Why, Norma?
Okay, this won't be the first time. This won't be the last time I reference Wes Anderson on this podcast, Dragon. But I'm just gonna say I could see that in a Wes Anderson movie. Just someone like driving in a car and crying hysterically to Beach Boys music. Do 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 do. Anyway, it's like Edward Norton or Owen Wilson or someone.
All right. So after the 68-69 conversation, it's I love
Romero,
Romero notices. I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah, he notices a paper about how Norman Bates is in custody for murder, and of course he gets an idea out of that, which we'll zero in on shortly.
Well, initially I think he just. I don't know if he gets the idea then. I think Romero's frustrated at first. I think he realizes,
Norma, not magical.
he has no way of getting to Norman Bates, and he's been arrested. But then later on, I think he gets the idea of, okay, wait a minute, not a fight this guy.
Okay.
But sorry, I don't know if you call it above the little thing the newspapers are kept in. It said every Monday new episode, like it's new every Monday or something, which is like the show. New episodes every Monday.
Nice. I didn't catch that. No.
The hearing. So in the hearing, we got Julia gives like the really nice kind of back of the head advice. Remember that? Remember how that went?
Yeah. It's essentially like, Norman's kind of shifting like from front to back, looking at the jury, and she's just saying like, just stare straight ahead because the jury can't judge the back of your head.
Yeah, which was nice. Again, I like that. Julia has been really a nice addition to the season this late in the game. She's
very
nice.
professional.
Nice.
Very professional.
Yeah, very professional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she's given the Your Honor tip, which I like how that pays off again. And this is what I'm talking about, T. It's like we see Norma on edge even when she's not saying anything. That's why we're seeing Norma when she rises. When she rises.
Of course.
Because again, we're with Norma in her headspace. That's why we're seeing her being all. Again, Norma's on edge. She doesn't have any certainty like she's had previously. So then Dylan arrives with a tie.
Yeah, I love how
like
monumentous you make that.
I tell you, I don't know why. I was like, hey, he's wearing a tie. That's nice.
All right. But like an aforementioned young businessman, perhaps, Dragon, perhaps.
Yes. Like a young Bruce Wayne, quite yes. So, but okay, he's only dressed. Dylan's only worn. You know what's funny too? Dylan's never not worn that jacket.
Oh God!
Have you ever noticed that Dylan's like? I think maybe once he's not. But in the beginning of this season, he didn't have the jacket on. I think it's like the only time he's never not had the jacket on.
Right.
But so, like, we haven't seen business Dylan until since he had the job interview in last season.
Oh.
Anyway, so the point is, Dylan with a tie and his formal best. Again, it's the same outfit, but just with a tie. So like it's kind of neat. Anyway, so off the tie subject, so Dylan arrives. Big moment. Dylan arrives, and I like this stuff. So Dylan.
This is one of the most heartbreaking moments in the episode for me when Dylan doesn't get close to Norman. Like he's in the room, but he's not in the room. You know what I mean?
It's like again, Dylan's he's next to the exit too, just in case he's contemplating a speedy exit. It's like he doesn't sit right behind Norman, but of course I love that Dylan is noticed as he walks into the room. I just love you can see everyone turning their heads, and of course Norman noticing. Again, the fact that he's sitting, in back, it does speak volumes that okay, well, hey, the brother's here, but he's still there's a difference. We gotta see how this thing plays out.
Sure.
And it is sad, but it's also again Dylan. It plays into the tension of we don't know if Dylan's gonna be able to handle this.
Yeah.
So again, it's like Dylan's put forward a good effort, but again, we don't. It's big stuff that these brothers are going through this episode. No, I don't even know if even the strongest pair of brothers can get through this. So let's see. So anyway, Judge.
Basically, get the legalities out of the way, like
Goldmar,
Norman.
Judge Goldmar, which is another female judge, which is another female another female position of power, which might be symbolic of Norma.
Oh God, a little bit, yeah. So Norman, Norma as Norman confirms that Julia can speak for her, him. I'm sorry, the pronouns are getting very confusing.
Yep. Let's see. So then. Again, Norma's very nervous with the little. I love the little eye movements again from me doing a lot even without saying anything. Sheriff Green is then called, and
Sheriff Green, man, she is just like relishing in bringing Norman down at this point.
Yeah, and I think, come on, chill out, man. Be like Ramos. Be like Julio Ramos. Be professional about it.
Right,
man.
right.
It's like she has such an axe to grind. It feels
Yeah,
like.
yeah, she
Basically,
really
like,
does, man.
as she walks up to the stand, she kind of shoots a death glare to Norman. Well, more so Norma, but technically Norman. Point is, sounds a little something like I can imagine what's going through Norma's head.
Why are you glaring at me like that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes.
Anyway, so now I really like how this sequence was done. By the way, that as Sheriff Green gets on the stand, she kind of goes into answering the questions about she basically the thing that we've been prepped with all leading up to this is the fact they're going to present the evidence, and that will dictate if they have a trial or not. And so we know they're going to go through the three dead bodies of Norman's strung. They're going to go over like all the evidence we saw them gather in the opening and the Bobby Darin sequence.
Sure.
So now we're just kind of. I love that we just kind of we hear everything drowned out as we're with our three characters hearing all this information. So like she's kind of drowned out in the background as we go through Jim Blackwell, we go to Sam Loomis, and we go to of course Audrey Ellis.
And of course, Madeline, she's really, really breaking down about hearing Sam, which as much as we hate Sam Dragon, you can't, it's hard to see Madeline Loomis cry. You know what I mean? It's
really hard to see Madeline Loomis cry, but I gotta say though, in that scene, like, maybe not, don't be so brokenhearted. I mean,
However, Dragon, I just want to point out that Sam's death was very horrifying, okay? Because not only did we get the great, like, cathartic shower stabbing. Cathartic, I'm sorry. The shower stabbing. But Sam actually died of suffocating with blood in his lungs. So it's like he had all the stab wounds and he felt all that pain, and then he suffocated on top of that. I just want to let that sink in for a moment. Let's just marinate in that.
Oh, that's funny. That's even better. That's like a surprise death. That's awesome.
Right.
I didn't even know that until you brought it up. I completely forgot it was just
yeah. I totally noticed, like, he died of asphyxiation or yeah. Anyways,
all right, cool. And again, it's like, come on now, don't be so broken.
No, I agree.
I'm saying he was really bad. He's a really bad man. He just sucked. He just really sucked, man. I'm sorry.
He didn't like movies, for God's sake.
I mean, come on. I mean, there are like few requirements of human life. You don't even have to love movies. You have to at least don't hate movies. Only an idiot. Come on.
Right.
Rarely will you meet someone in this life that just can't sit through a movie that hates movies. Anyway. So again, now I'm gonna dry your tears, sweetheart. It's fine. It's okay. He's gone now. The bad man can't hurt you anymore. Anyway. So again, just Madeline maybe could be a little less sad, but aside from that, again, everyone's understandably kind of bummed out here. And then the bit that this is so well done, as we keep cutting to who's affected by the news. So we get to Norma about Jim Blackwell, then we get to Sam Loomis with Madeline, then of course we get to the last one being Audrey Ellis, and Dylan. The minute Dylan's name's mentioned,
he's out of there. Yeah.
Dylan, the most notable time you could have done that is Dylan. He can't stand it. He gets up and he leaves, and everyone notices, especially Norman.
Oh yeah. Like I said, Dragon, that is definitely like just a heartbreaking moment for me.
Oh yeah, it's really tragic, and of course in that moment. Yeah, it's like and in a way, Dylan kind of made things worse.
I think so. I definitely think he did. Yeah,
because he left at the most noticeable point. Like the minute his name was mentioned,
right?
His brother Dylan Nassett. He killed the mother-in-law of his brother Dylan Nassett. Dylan gets out, and again, very dramatic and really awesome. Again, very reminiscent of. Again, I'm gonna need two. I'm gonna save the second one here, but. Very reminiscent of Batman Begins, when Bruce gets out of the courtroom after facing Joe Chill in the courtroom.
Of course, right.
Anyway, so again, I imagine the minute Dylan leaves, Norma's thinking to herself. Sorry, one second. Crap. Son of a. There we go. Found it. Sorry.
You got me.
Yep.
Pretty much.
He's in quite the pickle, that Norman Bates.
Okay.
Anyway, so then we have the aftermath. So Dylan's on the outside now, and shortly after handling all that terribleness, Madeline walks out of there, and and then we have a really. How can we make things sadder? How can we earn Max Terriot and Emmy at the last minute here? Okay, well let's throw him some more Emmy fodder in a good way. So this scene, I think, is the saddest moment for Dylan in the episode. What do you think?
Yeah, I honestly kind of think him walking out of the courtroom is the saddest moment.
Well, I mean, in connection to that, I'm saying this kind of connects to it.
Yeah, it connects to it. Yeah, it's sad. I don't know. To tell you the truth, I kind of think Madeline's just a little bit out of line.
Well, yeah, and I'm saying that's why it's sad for Dylan. I'm just, not saying it's...
Yeah, I guess, but for me, it's just kind of like I understand where Madeline could see things that way, but we just kind of talked through how from Dylan's perspective, it's not about like it's Dylan's fault directly that Norman did what he did. It's more so Dylan leaving kind of caused the situation to go into a state of disrepair. So really, it was never an option to turn on Norman. You know what I mean? It was never an option for Dylan to turn him in, and we already kind of talked through the noble reasons why it wouldn't be. So
yeah, and well, I mean, Madeline right here, she's grilling him for that, and she's kind of voicing the blame that Dylan feels that again he kind of had. He was complicit in it, because remember, like Norma told him in the beginning of season 1 what Norm was capable of, and he never told anyone. So I mean, she's kind of voicing the whole like Dylan had a role in this, and the fact that the reason that she's bringing it up to him specifically is they had a moment where he warned her. Dylan saved her life. And essentially saved her life, most likely. I'm saying we don't know what would have happened to her. It was most likely bad things would have happened to her. So, again, Dylan kind of saved her in the process, like, no thanks for saving her.
Right.
I'm not saying she should have asked, he should have gotten things. So the point is, it's a sad moment goes with something like this.
Yes.
I let Norman into your life. That was me. Sam's piece of evidence and there because of me. But Norman only tricked me for a couple weeks. How did he trick you for your whole life? You knew. You're his brother, you knew. How can you live with yourself?
So I'm sure Dylan's instinctual reaction would be...
What was that?
Yes.
And of course, just for us, the audience, the reaction would be...
I'm so sad.
Yeah, it is so sad. So tragic to have that scene. Because one, we love Madeline. So anything coming from Madeline is going to be kind of worshipped like the gospel. It's like, oh, Madeline, why? Why? We love Dylan. Why are you tearing him down like that? Oh, but again, you can understand. It's a complex situation, folks. And I will say that when she mentioned that line about Sam being a piece of Evans, I wrote in my notes, Sam's a piece of something, all right.
Okay.
But again, just asking how can you live with yourself, which I fear might be a negative, might be a foreshadow for Dylan, which really worries me.
All right. So let's get back to the most bizarre and out of left field character of the season.
I'm sorry, real quick. I get the really important point I got to make.
Yeah.
The reason that scene is really says because it's essentially it's confrontation by the ghost of his mother, reminding him of reminding it's Dylan's fault for the way things have turned out. I'm saying it's the fact it's like the ghost of his mother chastising him.
I mean, do you think that Dylan looks at Madeline that way? Like,
I still think a part of him does, because remember we had that moment from when she showed up and it's like from the behind, like, oh my god.
You're right. Yeah, okay, I can buy into it then. You're right. We do have that moment.
Which again, very reminiscent of a young Bruce Wayne.
Wait, what? How is that reminiscent?
I'm just saying,
what?
Chastised and blamed by the parents.
Oh my god. Okay, Jesus Christ.
I think that might be the last one we got for him.
This jar is getting full, man. I definitely think that is the MVP jar of the season.
Okay, so take us through the next one.
Okay, so like I said, folks, I don't know. I think the Maggie Summers character is kind of she's just like, she doesn't really jive for me, Dragon. She really doesn't. First of all, am I crazy in hearing things, or did she mention that she thinks of Romero like a son?
I don't think she said that, Tiki.
Thank God, because I thought I was hearing something like that, and I was like, if that's the case, then it's just a very, very weird, like, I don't know.
I really don't think she said that.
Okay, good. Anyways, Maggie, yeah, I do kind of like there's a fourth wall quality to Romero just getting so frustrated with Maggie, you know, and I don't know, Dragon. I do think that as soon as Romero sees the paper, very soon afterwards, he does formulate the plan in his head, because this is the next time we see him after he gets the paper, and he knows what he wants to do.
Well, honestly, I think the minute he finds out where Norman's located, then he formulates because he knows he can get into that place.
Okay, but yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
It's all come together. But anyways, he needs a computer to look up where Norman's being held, and Maggie doesn't want to. And Dragon, I'm sorry, I just love the come on, Maggie.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I feel we're being hard. I think you've been harsh on Maggie this season.
I have been harsh on Maggie. Yeah.
But again, I like what Maggie represents. You know, she kind of represents, again, the out for Alex Romero. Again, the logical way of like how Romero could just kind of move on with his life and get out of there.
No, I hear you. And of course, Romero's like, no, I'm in a TV show. It's the final episode, Maggie. Do you understand the stakes here?
Yep. And speaking of those stakes, just to remind us, like, why Norman's in danger for this oncoming episode, he said Romero fires into this.
Putting up a bulletproof brain is the only thing that's kept me alive these last 2 years.
Alex, don't do this. Let the law handle it.
Yeah, the law. Yeah, they know what they're doing. I'm dead. I want to do it myself.
Alex, I love you. My mother would want that to happen to her son.
She's dead. She'll never say it.
Romero's dialogue is always so on point and funny.
Right.
This intense situation, he's still cracking some great wise. Yes, and I gotta tell you, my favorite part of that, by the way, but one of my favorite parts in that sequence, aside from just kind of yelling the bolt in the brain, which made me think of a Deadpool reference, which I'm not going to make, was this in the middle here.
Putting up a bulletproof brain is the only thing that's kept me alive these last 2 years. And now I can get it.
You gotta remind me of that at the end of it. I can't get him. Wait, let's see. So then, Romero has basically Romero's expecting the worst, and he's trying to formulate a plan desperately, which looks like, okay, well, depending on where he goes, that's why Romero's searching steadfastly for a computer. If it's in this one location, he can easily get to him.
Sure.
Luckily, he's being held at the sheriff's department, which of course is Romero's domain. It's Romero's house. He knows how to get into that place.
Thus setting the stage for your best prediction ever.
Yep. So let's see. So after, so then of course she begs him to stay. And Romero, she offers Romero a way out yet again. He does not take his moment of change, and he leaves.
All right, now Dragon, the next moment, I really, I gotta say, I really love this moment rewatching the episode. It didn't really hit me. It really hit me rewatching it more so than it did on the first watch. Basically, we see Audrey being cremated, and Emma spreading the ashes. Really, really good song choice, by the way. The song, I think, is Crimson and Clover. I'm not sure who the artist is. Not sure who the artist is on it, but really good song choice. I actually wouldn't mind looking more into this band, because it sounds like a really good band. It sounds like they make music I'd be into. But Dragon, what I love so much about this is that it feels so much like a bookend. You know what I mean? Like Emma is spreading these ashes over the same valley and forest that we love so much, and we spent so much time with Ellen and with Emma and Norman in season 1, and them going on their adventures.
Dylan and Remo.
Yeah, and us speculating that Emma was going to die because her tank was going to run out of oxygen when they were on one of their adventures. And there's just so much that's taken place over those woods, and now that's like the final moment for Emma there. And Dragon, I'm getting goosebumps literally just talking about it. I think it's a really, really well done. It might not be the last time we see Emma in the series, but I think it's a really well done. There's multiple send-offs in Emma's arc this episode. There's of course saying goodbye to Norma. They're saying goodbye to Norman coming up a little later. And I think what this is, of course, is not just her mother, but I think more importantly, it's saying goodbye to White Pine Bay.
Well, I think it's also it's her kind of saying goodbye to kind of what she used to be predicated on, the girl whose mother abandoned her because of her illness. So
sure, very much so.
She's kind of getting over her old handicap, so to speak.
And like I said, like I just went over, I think those woods kind of represented, like, she spent a lot of time and a lot of the most cherished time of her life when she had that handicap in those woods with Norman. There's a lot of significance there, and I like I said, Dragon, I really love that choice to have it in that particular location,
which also might be nudging her in the direction of visiting Norman. By the way, of kind of she's probably thinking of those good times, and that's kind of motivating the scene coming up. So, morning is now morning. So Emma's. Oh wait, no, it's not morning; it's night.
Yeah, I was about to say we have a quick nighttime scene when when Emma comes back, and
darn misleading punctuation.
It's very quick though, Dragon. It's very quick. It's just Emma comes back, crawls into bed, just says she wants to go home tomorrow, wants to be with Katie. Dylan understands. They both understand each other. Dylan's going to stay there. And Dylan's kind of scared. He's about to ask Emma a question, but Emma's like, "Let's not talk about it." Now I'm wondering, Dragon, do you think the question that that's on Dylan's mind is, do you think, like, because what I'm wondering myself is, like, after all this, is there going to be a long-term future for them as a couple, or do you think that the weight of the situation is going to inevitably drift them apart, no matter how much they don't want that to happen to each other?
Well, not getting to my speculation, I'm going to say I think they'll, if things go, let's just say if things end happy, I think they'll be together.
Okay.
I know that sounds vague, but trust me, I'll get into my reasons of, like, let's just
say you're saying is if Dylan doesn't die, then they'll end up together.
That's what I'm saying. I think as long as he survives, I think they'll be together.
Okay, fair enough.
So I don't think this is going to tear them apart. I think it's going to be it's going to prove their love. I think they'll be fine.
Nice. Okay.
Again, assuming one of them is not.
So we get and then in the morning we get kind of
the King's Motel must have really annoying lighting because it just keeps flashing red. Right, that's why the King Motel is losing business to the Bates Motel. That's at least why they should.
Oh God. I could see A&E like putting out like a fake commercial for the King's Motel.
Yeah, just like there's like another show's done.
Right.
Right.
Am I going to count that?
Yeah, sure. Like Better Call Saul is done with Gus Fring. All right.
Yes. Okay. Anyways.
So it's morning. Emma's leaving early. We have a. Let's see.
It's a sweet and kind of tense last moment with Dylan and Emma together before she departs.
A great moment of pause shot where she's like about to say something to Dylan, but then she doesn't. And, like, she kind of leaves Dylan behind. That's kind of what the shot is. Really nice. So then, oh boy, big scene. Here we go. Emma's going to the sheriff's. Luckily, she went early because had she gone later,
I know, right? I was thinking
about her.
Yeah, good timing on this. Wouldn't it be crazy if that was how we killed Emma off? If Emma was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. Oh God. And this scene is like is so sad. Let me just remind you before we get into this sad yet poignant scene. Just like, what happens in these days, Tiki?
We're all together enough to get the
What happened to those good times?
Oh man.
All this stuff's going on. They have kids are kind of questioning their marriage. Parents are getting killed left and right. What happened?
Right.
So Emma, again, she's told Dylan that she's heading home, so Dylan has no idea that this is happening. This is kind of Emma making peace. She's kind of confronting, not the attacker, but confronting her demon, so to speak. She's visiting Norman, and we have like this great Hannibal Lecter build to Norman, by the way. We kind of mirror the shot of Silence of the Lambs a little, to be honest.
Sure.
So we get, again, the fun reflecting shots of Norma's reflected in the glass. Norman's what everyone's seeing, but Norma is like, which on her side of it's Norma being shown. Anyway, so it's kind of mother talking about the mother she killed for Emma. For Emma and Norman's own good. She kind of killed it mainly for Norman, but also for Emma. It was motivated by him when she killed her mother, to be fair.
I believe we do get a nice girl drop in that line.
I think we do too. Anyway,
Something
scene
about
goes
like she wasn't a nice woman, Emma.
right. So the scene goes a little something like this, and oh boy, it's kind of like Olivia Cook's For Your Consideration.
Hello, Emma. I guess I know why you're here. You do? 'Cause I'm not sure I do. Well, it's about your mother, I met. They think I killed her. I think you did too, Norman. No, I wouldn't kill anybody, Emma. You know that. It's me. Norman. You're Norman, your friend. Where's Norman? I'm sorry about your mother, Emma. She wasn't nice. She was using Norman, and she was using you. She didn't deserve to die.
Death isn't about deserving, it's just part of the deal. She made her own bad. You know that better than anyone. Can I talk to Norman?
Well, Norman's sleeping. In his room. There's an apple pie in the oven. And when he wakes up, he'll smell it baking and know that everything's okay.
Oh, can you tell me something for me? Can you tell him that I miss him?
So boy, oh boy, is that a great and well-written scene right there? Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely, and you're right. Just get the Emmys and the Inside Out tissues ready for Olivia Cook there, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I love that Emma can see through, because Emma knows Norman so well, like knows him personally so well, that she can see through the Norman impression. Again, this is Norma pretending to be Norman.
Of course, there's just like so many fun layers to it as we broke
And
down
honestly,
last episode.
I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. It's very Primal Fear-esque.
I have not seen that movie. No, I apologize.
Edward Norton. Essentially, it was kind of the precursor to somewhat the precursor to the season of Bates Motel.
Okay.
Edward Norton's in it. Edward Norton, he kind of has split personality. That's the big question. Does he or does he not have split personality? But you'll see.
Oh.
Anyway, well, maybe. I don't know. So, again, I got my wish fulfilled here. I was hoping this from the very beginning. I kind of wish this for every character, that interaction with Norman, because now we're ending this season. At least we got it with Emma. I was really happy about this, that Emma... I love that Emma somewhat understands Norman by the end. It was a big arc for Emma. She started as the character who knew least, and now outside the family. Now she is in the family and she knows everything. It's kind of a great kind of arc for her for the series. Yeah, like now it's back to just being her and Norman after this crazy journey they've had, and it's not just kind of bonding over the living Norman. Now she has a scene with kind of the negative representation of Norman. Again, just the fact that she understands. And again, Tiki, this is more evidence for a way I think we might be building Romero. Again, we have characters understanding. Caleb's understood where Norman's coming from, as has Emma and Dylan. So again, characters are understanding where Norman is coming from on some level.
Also, Dragon, I very, very much want to put a pin in the whole imagery of Norman waking up with the apple pie and whatnot, because that feeds very heavily into my speculation.
Oh yeah,
very heavily.
Now, something to mention about that. I don't know if I'm stepping on your speculation at all of this. Something I got to point out is that we have a big homage to the ending of Psycho here.
Okay.
Basically, the big homage, of course, is debatably its mother's plan at the end of Psycho, where she says, I'm just going to sit here. I won't harm a fly.
Well, we're just going to sit here then.
So again, it's like mother pretending to be Norman. That was her plan at the end of Psycho.
It's funny. I've taken to like whenever my computer's acting up and like not loading a page, or like the the browser's not responding. I've kind of taken to like just very passive aggressively just saying like, well, I guess we're just gonna have to sit here then. Anyways,
yeah, but you see what I mean, though. Again, it's kind of what this season's been all about. Like Norma masquerading as Norman in places. Again, derivative of the original, which is really cool. Sure. And again, I love that Norma makes the point, and again, this is my thing going against them. It's like, again, I love that Norma points out, she wasn't a nice person. She made her own bed. She kind of deserved it. You didn't know about it, and you didn't really need to know about it. So again, it kind of worked out for everyone.
Right.
So again, then we have the callback to Norman sleeping with all that stuff too. But
Oh yeah, I did. That is a good callback as well. Right, sure.
Not sleeping.
Now that,
and again, it's really,
remind me, Dragon, that is one of the first things we hear Norman say the first time he's like in full mother mode, right?
The first time, technically, no. If you want to be really anal retentive about it, no. But it honestly, yes, it really is. It's the first time we've seen Norman go full Norman. But there was the first time he ever said "nice," nice girl. That was technically mother.
Okay, but I'm talking about the moment. I believe it's in season 3. I want.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's the one season. Episode. It's episode 5 or 6. Norma Louise. That's the episode's name is Norma Louise.
Right.
Could be 6. I think it's episode 6. That's when he goes full Norma and we see it.
And then I believe the last line, or at least the line that cuts to commercial, is Norman sleeping.
Yeah. It may not be the first line. It's from the first scene of it, though, because that's like she's telling about, like, get breakfast and everything. Make sure you wake your brother up, or you'll never. I don't know. But the point is, it's from that scene. You're right. It's the first time we've seen it.
Gotcha.
Anyway, okay, let's see. So, again, really heartbreaking, just kind of like goodbye to Norman. Said, tell him I miss him. And then we focus on Norman's basically. I think on some level, Norman subconsciously kind of touched by that line.
Oh, I definitely think, a little bit of Norman did kind of get in there for sure.
Which was nice. Mm-hmm. So, let's see. In the end, Norma learned a lot from Norma and represented the spirit of her judging. I just kept talking about Emma because I think this might be the last time at least we do anything with her. So there, I'd say this now. So in the end, I think with Emma's character, she's learned a lot from Norma and represented the spirit of the good side of Norma Bates we came to know and love at this point with her. So, and she moves forward in a healthy direction. That's what Emma's done with her character, like Norma would have done had she kept on living.
Right.
It's like what and represents what Norman needs to do getting into this last episode. Norman needs to move forward like Emma's doing in this moment. She did a really big thing here. She's confronting Norman after all the stuff he's done. She moved forward. That's what Norman needs to do. It's the big kind of setting the stage for Norman's character arc next episode, I think. So, all right. So Emma got out of there just in time. Then again, we don't know how much time's passed. She might have been in there.
No, I was kind of thinking that, Dragon. Like, wouldn't it be crazy if next episode opens and we see Emma dead in the aftermath?
Oh, I don't think Romero would have. I don't think he would have killed her.
I don't think he would have purposefully killed her, but I'm saying, like, in the heat of the moment, if he's just like firing willy-nilly, she might have gotten caught in the crossfire.
Well, let's say this though. I think what we're probably going to do with Emma, if she's in the station,
if there's any possibility of Emma dying at all and having a shocking Emma death, it is this.
Okay,
right?
look, let me say this on Emma. It's based on the evidence. The way it's looking, because the next scene takes place at the end of the day because everyone's leaving. That's the point of it. So Emma's most likely out of there. But on the
fair point.
On the very off chance that she's still there, I think we're just open Breaking Bad style, and we're going to see the events happen from her perspective.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Okay, so then we have big moment
with her dying. Wouldn't that be crazy?
No, I don't think she's gonna live. Darn it.
Okay, so Dragon, set this up as good as you can with the, with the penultimate evidence that we have, or the penultimate bragging rights, if you will.
Do you want me to get into the bragging rights now?
Yes, I want you to get into the bragging rights now. Yes. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So you see, folks, I called a little something last episode, and Tiki has graciously asked me to kind of pull the audio from that of the evidence. Basically, what I called is that the event we're about to go into is that Romero he breaks Norman out.
I'm very curious to see how word for word this lines up with what actually happens. Let's hear it.
Well, you'll see. It's let me make sure I got it here, but it's kind of funny though. Again, I did expect it to end this way. The one thing you'll hear in this thing is that I thought the visiting hours. I'm somewhat right at this because it does build to Emma visiting him. And
no, I mean, happens. Yeah, you did call that. You did call that. Yeah, absolutely. It builds like we have Dylan having the visit and then Emma having the visit.
Yeah. So here's the evidence. So you folks kind of judge it as you will. I don't know how this is going to sound because it's kind of audio talking. So we'll see. It's well, not audio of audio talking. It's kind of audio of us. So I don't know how it's going to read. So just good luck. And this is like the play-by-play. just stripped out. Like basically the setup was, hey, let's get into speculation. What do you? Tiki asked me, what do you think's going to happen? How do you think Norman's going to get? Romero would get Norman out. Well, basically, getting his, I brought it up, and then Tiki's asking how would you go about that? So here's I threw it out there.
What I think for the episode, everyone's going to visit. I think that's where we're going to get visiting hours. I think everyone's going to be visiting as the trial stuff's happening. And he was going to be, I think Norman's going to be tracked. The next episode is going to be interesting. Norman's going to be in one stage here, they can hold himself in the trial. Everyone's going to be visiting him, visiting hours, and they're going to be talking about Norman. And Romero might break, at the end of the episode, I think he's going to break Norman out to kill him at the motel. Okay. That's what I think is going to happen. I think you get everything. Basically, about this, in the episodes, everyone visiting Norman, the last visit of Romero, that this is going to break him out. So, but I mean, the question is, how would he get in there to visit him in the first place? He knows like probably knows the courthouse. He probably knows like the police department. He probably find a way in there. I mean, that's probably fair enough. I don't know. He's pretty crafty.
All right, there we go.
There's nothing in there, Dragon, that doesn't actually materialize in the show. That was one of their best predictions in the 4 seasons we've been doing predictions, Dragon.
Yep. I think it beats your Christmas prediction a little.
Okay, but seriously, how cool is this moment? I love it. It's very much like a heist, you know? It's like, I love these intricate heists that get pulled off flawlessly, you know what I mean?
Well, something I got to mention, I keep forgetting every episode, because now we're getting to the end, I have to mention it now, or else we're never going to be able to mention it. So, every time I watch Bates Motel, it's kind of a similar thing to Better Call Saul, but it's more absolutely with Bates Motel. It always happens with Bates Motel, with this season especially. I've kind of noticed, like, as the episodes go on, the last, like, it's not only just an hour, it's like an hour plus, like a few minutes, like 4 minutes, or like 4 to 7 minutes sometimes. Usually like the last 3 or 4 minutes. And I always look at the clock and I'm like, okay, well, the episode's kind of winding down. It's basically it's kind of tracking like if something big is going to happen. I realize, okay, we're at like 11 o'clock on my end, and then wait a minute, that means the last 3 minutes. Oh boy, the last 3 minutes, all the exciting stuff happens.
Right.
Big exciting cliffhanger happens, and then boy, when it came here, it last 3 minutes here.
Oh yeah, big time.
So
big
and not
time.
only was, and again, a little vindication with these last 3 minutes. Oh my God, I called this. Yeah. So basically, Romero, I'll frame it here. I'll play kind of play in 2 parts here: the Norman side of it and the kind of the precursor. So Regina, who by the way has been in the show since the very beginning, one of our characters who's been there since the very beginning, the secretary of White Pine Bay.
Right.
So she,
I'm telling you, everyone but Cupcake Boy.
I don't know. We'll see. So Regina, who's been on the show ever since the beginning, always been Romero's trusty receptionist. She's going to her car, and Romero holds her at gunpoint. He's apologizing, but he needs to get in there. And what do you need? I want Norman Bates. And he goes in there and basically kind of takes the whole place hostage. And kind of as he's kind of moving through rooms, really just the pinnacle of awesome for Romero. He kind of takes control of his. He's no longer Sheriff Pshaw. You can't tell Romero he's not sheriff anymore. And I love at the end of this first part, you're going to hear him say, "My office." He still refers to the place as his office. I just love that. I lost it when he said, "Oh, God, he's still saying my office." That's awesome. So the scene goes a little something like this. Just imagine a lot of intensity, a lot of gun waving a gun around. Goes as long as he's ushering Regina and catches the guy by surprise. "Oh, you just couldn't stay away." And it's like, okay, hands up. Pretty much. Here we go.
Get up. Get in the back. What the hell is this? Get the back shot. Get in the back. On the floor, face down, hands on your heads. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. You two, Davis. Let's go. Stop. No talking. Where's your sheriff? Where's your sheriff, Miller? She's in the field. Is there anyone else here? No. Okay. Collect the firearms. Nice and easy. Thumb and forefinger only. Slide them over. Let's go. Let's go. What, Romero? I want you to shut the hell up. What did I just say? Get him up. IUP. Everyone out. Move into my office now. Go.
Do you think he killed that guy or shot him in the leg? I thought he shot him in the leg.
It looked like he killed him, but I'm not sure. This is kind of what I'm talking about like if like, look, I don't think Emma's in there, but hypothetically, if she was, I could see her, like, Romero's being very careless about that gun, you know what I mean? Like, he's willing to fire that gun at whoever's
He
going
is
to
on
cross him.
he is on a suicide mission.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah. So, I honestly don't think he was aiming to kill the guy one way or another. He just wanted him out of the way at any means necessary. So I don't really think it was on his mind.
Well, I shouldn't say suicide mission. I'm saying like, he's prepared for a suicide mission if it comes to that.
Of course, of course.
So let's see. So again, I guess you got to imagine you see the way.
I love how this plays out with Highmore, you know, because like Highmore's in the cell, right, and then the whole police station like walks in, and at first Highmore's like he's kind of like,
what's going on here?
He's kind of
what's going on?
Slightly amused. He's like, well, what's going on? Why are you all here? Are you here to throw me a surprise party? You know, but then of course it's
well, Norman, we just wanted to say we're glad to have you here, and just like we're pulling for you, man. That's why the guy in the very beginning was giving you the play-by-play. We're rooting for you. The sheriff just has a problem with you. We don't know what her problem is. You know what? We of the Alex Romero regime, we're pulling for you, kid.
Oh man,
you're the stepson of law enforcement. We don't know all the stuff attached to it. You're the stepson of White Pine Bay law enforcement.
He's
Oregon pride.
Norman is the Hercules. He's the stepson of the god of White Pine Bay.
Yep. So, by the way, okay, here we go, boys. Scene goes like this. This takes us to the ending, and I have a little funny thing we'll get into. Okay, it goes something like this.
What's happening? What's he doing here? Everyone, go! No, not you. You're coming with me. Get up. No, thanks. I'm staying put. Come on.
So this season's been chock full of really great endings. It really has, and it's like between 7 and this one for me.
Yeah, definitely.
So a few things to cover in this are really great. I did call another thing, but it was kind of more vague concept, just like the fact that the body was going to come into play. I initially thought Romero was going to find the body, then bait Norman with it. I thought that's how it might have.
Oh, that would be twisted if he did that. Oh,
that was I called that. I think like episode not 8, but I think 7. I think at the end of that because the body we knew the body was going to come into play in 8, so I figured like that'd be Romero discovers it.
Of course.
Use it against them. So let's see. So a few things, really cool things, is I love Tiki. I thought it was a brilliant piece of writing here. The fact that Romero in the station, he hates Norman so much he almost strangled him to death. Because I love the fact that it's strangling him to death is, of course, it's reminiscent of the way Norma died in his arms, gasping for air.
You know what this almost kind of reminds me of, though? It kind of reminds me of the moment in Gotham where Jerome is about to kill Bruce Wayne for the second time. And you know what I mean? And then, and then it's like, wait a minute. I need to make this mean more. I need to do more with this. I need to have this be a grand statement.
Oh, yeah. Really cool. So, yeah, it's really good. I was also kind of thinking of, when you brought that, I was thinking of when Gordon was strangling Jerome with one arm.
Sure.
But you see what I mean, though? Again, I think it's just like it's a poetic death he almost gave him there, just like kind of suffocating him, like Norma suffocated. Well, Norma kind of carbon. Porn was like an air-related death. It was like a
sure.
It's such a poetic way. And then the guy reminds him of like, oh wait, yeah, I have a mission here. He has like the mission. Basically, before Alex Romero's willing to die, as long as Norman dies, before anything that happens, he needs to lay Norman to rest properly, which means he needs the body.
Oh yeah.
And I now that again, knowing that body came into play when I was so delayed, that's the thing that really jazzed me out of my mind with her. Yes, they're doing the body thing. Yes, yes. And I also just love so many great little details too. Like mention like, where did you get this car? It's being normally like ticked off like, hey, you took my car.
Right.
Compared to the whole Alex, you got my car back. Compared to that.
Oh god.
So, in Norman, again, just excellent framing for the penultimate episode. We started off really strong with the penultimate, and we ended up perfectly here. It's like, Romero's keeping Norman in the back at gunpoint. He's asking him, what do you want with us, Alex? Saying we. What do you want with us? What do you want with us, Alex? You're going to take me, where? You're going to take me where he buried her. You're going to take me to the body. You're going to take me to the body. And then we have the mirror shot of Norman looking to Norma. I'm like, what are we going to do now?
Of course, right.
Perfect. So then the promo, now we had to approach the promo interestingly, because what they did was really neat. I don't know what you thought of this, but
I liked it a lot, except it's like, I think it's very smart for them to do a long promo that's artful, but doesn't give away too much footage.
Shots.
It's more of a tone trailer than anything else.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a great, like, kind of last season, because basically we saw these scripts from the whole season, from episodes, from episode 501 to 509. Well, possibly 510. We don't know that. So yeah, it was just really cool to hear kind of the lines read and just seeing that was really cool. I loved the little kind of the like the dead and mother written in blood or like written in red, and, like like that. And of course, we had my favorite moment, the slap, like the So honestly, you get to hear a little bit. I'll play this part of the promo for you, but before I do that, though, I just want to highlight something we'd be remiss about mentioning with Romero. So again, from all that Romero awesomeness at the end,
yes,
and being floating through our minds. I just love that hello Norman. I just love the whole him casually saying hello Norman, because that's the Romero's like when you least suspect it, all the paid off.
Oh my god. I just really wish that edit would have actually been in the show of him.
Play it one more time, just for the sake of fun. So I love him just saying, like, in the actual episode, he said,
like, let me set the scene before you play it. Just imagine Romero's walking in with all the police, and he's got this shit-eating, like, grin on his face, and he says, "Surprise!" Oh my god. That'd be wonderful.
Okay, so here's like pretty much the new footage we had at the end of the promo. I'll walk you through because you can't see it.
Okay.
Like this. The ding was cool.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
So the two shots we do get that are from the last episode. To be fair, they did show the shot again of Dylan throwing Norman over the hood. So I doubt that's going to happen because I think that was deleted smartly. But I don't know. Maybe they can make it work in the last one. I don't know. The point is, two shots we do. I mean,
you realize if that is in the final episode, then all 10 episodes will have something from the trailer, though.
That is true. I'm hoping that's not the case. Again, I'm still hoping that scene was just deleted smartly, but we'll see. I think he was trying to put in random stuff in the last one. But the two shots we got, they're most likely going to be in the last one, is Dylan with a gun, loading a gun in a car. And Romero, the big one I had to speculate on, Romero beating Norman viciously.
Okay. So let's dive right into it, Dragon. Dylan is definitely going to, like, Dragon, all our hype, all our build-up to Dylan being young Bruce Wayne is going to be finalized in this last episode, because he is going to be straight-up Batman going to save Norman from Romero. That is exactly what's going to happen. Oh, man.
It's like the mayor of Gotham from The Dark Knight took an evil turn.
They couldn't have... Oh, my God, yes. Okay, now that you mentioned it like that, Dragon, I am not going to watch the final episode any other way. Oh, God. It's like somehow we're in like this weird time paradox where the mayor of Gotham City and then like the young Bruce Wayne, like, you know, pre-Batman Begins young Bruce Wayne. Anyways, we're diving ourselves into
So you want me to go first, or do you want to keep going?
Oh man, yeah, I definitely think like I said, I definitely think the Dylan is... I honestly think there's a good chance, and keep in mind, Dragon, this is one of the few standoffs that we haven't seen yet is Dylan versus Romero. Dylan and Romero have not interacted.
They've never fought. Like, Romero stopped them once and shoved them against a car, but they've never...
Right. So, I definitely think that's what it's going to come down to. And, Dragon, my bold prediction right now is I think that Dylan is going to step in, Romero is going to kill Dylan in the crossfire, and then only in that moment is Romero going to realize the error of his ways.
No, you kind of took one of my big theories, but okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anything you want to
expand on that theory? That's cool. I didn't know you were going that route. I'm surprised.
Okay,
that's cool. That's cool.
Can I talk about the imagery of? I want to talk about the imagery of the waking up with, you know, what is it, like smelling the apple pie?
Okay.
Dragon, I'm absolutely convinced that imagery is going to somehow tie into the final moments of the series.
That'd be cool. I'd be
Norman waking up and smelling the apple pie. I'm convinced.
That'd be cool. I wouldn't mind that.
And my theory is that it's either going to be, and of course that'd be a great bookend as well for the season, because that's the very first thing we see in the season is Norman waking up, smelling the pie, like, oh mother, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely think if I were to make a prediction, I would either say it's Norman in Pineview or in a mental institution, but still somehow having the allusions to his mother. Maybe we see that he's not taking the medication, like he's slipping the medication even though he's in the facility. Either that or the more haunting thing we could do with that, Dragon, is we see that from Norman's perspective and we realize he's dead and this is his afterlife.
Wow. That's an interesting thought there. I kind of like that one.
Because think about it. Like, Norman is not present currently. It is Mother who's taken over. And maybe Norman waking up is going to be when the actual host body for Norman dies.
Wow.
Yeah. How about them apples?
That's right. Well, that's very interesting. So here's my breakdown. So let me lay it out here like this. I'm going to build you what I think is going to happen regardless, and I'm going to take it down the happy path and the tragic path. Okay? So here's what I think is going to happen regardless. I think the beginning of next episode, everyone's going to be looking for Norman. You know, Sheriff Green, Dylan, not that much. Dylan, Sheriff Green, etc. Everyone's gonna be looking for. Everyone's gonna be looking for. Everyone's gonna be the talk of the town. In the aftermath of the escape from the sheriff's station, Dylan's gonna try to save Norman from Romero. It's gonna build to a climax where in the dark of the woods and the snow, where Romero is forcing Norma, and I imagine in the episode some of the humor they're talking is gonna be like Norma trying to manipulate and romance Romero.
Right. Oh,
trying to seduce Romero.
Oh, God, I didn't even realize that. Oh, no.
Probably trying to seduce Romero as well.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I could totally see that.
Yeah, and basically it's going to equate to, after all the levity, it's going to boil down to Romero forcing Norman to dig up Norma's body. And in response, after he does that, after he finds it, Norman's going to lead him because Norman Norman actually knows where she's buried. The point is, somehow, we're going to get there. What I'm throwing out there is, maybe it is Norman who digs her up, but let's say this happens, all right? To dig up, Norma's digging up herself, And in response to seeing the body, you know, Romero's just so pissed off at Norman. Now he knows where the body is. He has the body, you know, to bury properly. Now Norman's outlived his usefulness, essentially. Just out of sheer, before he can, you know, he's put the bullet in the brain, what he's doing is he's just mercilessly beating Norman near to death because he's so pissed off at him. Which I think, and I'm arguing this is going to be leading for my two outcomes here. I think it's going to lead to a cognitive kind of wake up for Norman. I think in punching him so many times right in the face and the head like that, that's going to snap. That's going to bring Norman out of it. That's going to bring Norman out of this kind of. It's going to wake him up in the pie before the pie is made.
Sure.
Essentially, it's like that's going to snap, you know, him out of the blackout mode he's been stuck in the whole 2 episodes. Then, you know, Norman's gonna. And I've been calling this, and I think this will still be a cool way of kind of doing this. I think Norman, in response to like being face to face with the dead mother, he's gonna put it together. Oh my God, I killed her. He's gonna go catatonic.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That is definitely one of the few things that we've been, you know, we've still yet to resolve.
I still think Norman's going to go. Of course, we have to do it in the last episode. We have to have that resolution that, oh, God, I did this.
Of course.
And the reaction to that is going to be he's going to go catatonic in seeing that. Then Dylan's going to arrive to try to talk Romero down. So here are the 2 outcomes. Here's the happy outcome. Okay, here's the happy end. Dylan convinces Romero that, you know, Norma wouldn't want this. And all she did through life, you know, ever since the first season, was, you know, try to. You know, all the stuff she's done for Norman, you know, cost her own life, and you know, she gave her life for her child. All that stuff kind of feeding into the argument. Then I think there's going to be a shot. Romero's going to look down at the catatonic Norman. He's going to pity the catatonic boy staring at his dead mother. So he's going to spare Norman if Dylan swears to bury Norma properly. Then Romero leaves town. Norman takes the insanity plea. Basically, we don't see all this. We get to the end point of it. So we assume, okay, Norman's in an institution. Basically, in both outcomes, I bet the highlight here is that Norman, he's in county for the time being before they figure out like a proper facility for him to go to. He's in county for the time being, and you know they have to put him there temporarily, which of course is a horror show for Norman.
Sure.
So he's put in county, Norman's worst nightmare for a moment here, and he has a conversation with the real Norma, you know, the embodiment of the happy Norma, you know, the one that. The better representation of.
So this would be different, like distinctly different from the mother persona we've been talking to throughout the season.
Yes, this would be in line with what Norma truly was. I've been calling this one for a long time. In the end, going the happy route, we would end with like the actual Norman would still see his mother in these last months, but before the medicine takes effect, and God knows what else.
Right.
For a moment, the mother he would see basically be a sign for like good things. You know, Norman will recover. Things will go better for him. He's on the path of recovery. Maybe even just throwing this out there. Maybe Madeline, just to get closure, will visit him just to see it. It's something they do all the. No, I'm serious. All the time in the sequels of Psycho, they do this sort of thing where people get closure, or like they'll try to mend things with Norman. So I'm saying it's not out of the realm, possibly. Sure. And then the last shot, I'm convinced. I think the beautiful way they have to end this would be, you know, again, Norman's letting go. He's like basically the conversation that he and Norma have is about the cord. Again, they bring up the cord, hence the title of the episode. And it's basically the equivalent of the conversation is like the bird leaving the nest. You know, I'm always going to be with you, but you got to fly on your own. Now you can't have your mother watching over you. It's like a really sweet and loving conversation. Then the last shot of the whole thing is Dylan shutting off the Bates Motel sign.
Oh, I like that.
So that's the happy ending.
Okay.
I don't even know if anyone can handle the tragic. I'm going to throw it out there. It's really sad, folks.
Oh God.
I warn you. Okay, I'm warning you. Like, cover your ears if you don't want to be bummed out. Okay, so basically we're boiling down to the big moment of truth. Dylan's trying to talk Romero out of shooting the catatonic Norman. That's where we're at right now. So that's the framing. Dylan tries to talk Romero down. Romero warns him to stay out of it. Like go away, Dylan. He has no beef with Dylan. Then Dylan sacrifices himself. He takes a bullet for Norman. He just jumps in the way. He does all he can to protect his brother in his last moments. The guilt compounds on Romero because he's just killed the last pure remnant of the woman he loved. Dylan hasn't done anything to hurt anyone, and he's killed her. Like the only good son out of the Bates clan. He looks to Norman. And he processes what he's got to do now. And here's what he's going to do. And this part I do think is this could happen either way. But here's what we're doing is the tragic route, though. Romero, what he's going to do, he's going to pull kind of a Dark Knight here. I swear to God.
Oh God.
He's I'm serious though. He's going to turn himself in, and he's going to take the rap for Norman's murders.
Oh, okay.
which is
Okay.
plausible. And I brought this
I
up
like
back
that.
when, like,
I
who
like
Norman
that.
could have put the blame on. And Romero feasibly could, because he was on the run and all these bodies showing up. I mean, Blackwell be one. I mean, Romero's smart enough.
Sure.
I'm sure Romero could find a way to have killed Jim Blackwell. Again, time of death mixed with, like, he was in the water all that time. Maybe they could. He could figure something. Or Romero could always say, I had someone kill Jim Blackwell. I don't know. The point is, Romero takes the rap for the murders, but the fact remains that Norman still dug up his mother, so he's still going to get psychiatric help.
Nice.
So,
nice.
I have this, let's see, so, oh, here we go, right. So, again, takes the rap for the murders, which is plausible. We have Norman kind of in his sad catatonia, where, like, we see the other thing would be kind of Rose, like, maybe Norman might have awoken from the catatonic state in the happy ending. This one, he's like in a drooling kind of, not a drooling state, he's like staring forward. He's like in the classic pose from the end of the movie. He's like staring forward, and he's in his mind, he's like, he's not moving. In his mind with Mother, and Mother basically says she'll be there to take care of Norman forever. Basically, then bringing up the chord line, which would sound kind of like.
There's a chord between
the vein of that, where again she's like saying, "Hey, I'm going to be here with you forever," and indicating, here's the dark side of it. You're indicating that Romero was beating him mercilessly. The way it snapped Norman out of it basically means like Norman's now lost forever. Now it's only Mother there. Because Stefano, Joseph Stefano, the guy who wrote the original site, he intended to be that Norman's dead and Mother's the only one remaining in the body.
Right,
so that'd be a way of the originally intended ending. I'm not saying it's like it has to be that way. I'm just saying that'd be a kind of a cool twist on it, that now Norman's just gone forever because of all that catatonia. Like he's lost forever. Now no medication in the world will get Norman back to normal. He's going to be stuck that way. And as we have the chord line being said, we overlay it with Romero's ending, which is he's hanging himself, looking at the picture of Norma and his mother in prison. He can't bear it any longer. So the chord is killing Romero because he can't live in this world any longer without her. And then Emma's leaving flowers at Dylan's grave next to the gravestone for Norma and Norma.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man.
So again, that's the
tragic
ending.
Dragon, I am a little bummed out by hearing all that. Oh, God.
I warned you, but which ending would you opt for, the happy or the tragic?
Oh, I definitely opt for the happier one out of those two, but they're both very artfully thought through. Dragon, good job. Okay.
Again, key points. The sign shot would be cool. The homage to the final shot with the fly from the movie would also.
I have a couple loose ends. Are we going to see Norma's body in the rocking chair?
Well, I mean, we kind of saw that already, Tiki. I don't think we need to see it again.
Or are you talking with the throne?
I'm saying the throne. Wasn't the throne also a rocking chair?
I don't think it was a rocking chair. I think it was more of like an armchair, like easy chair sort of thing.
I don't feasibly see how we're going to get her in that rocking chair, so I don't think we're going to get that.
Fair enough. Do we think we're going to get a close-up dramatic shot of Norman in the classic Norman Bates smile pose?
Well, that's the catatonia thing I was saying out there. I think regardless, he's going to be in a pose like that, especially in the tragic end. He's going to be in that pose, and we'll give that look to camera. Okay,
finally, slight loose end. Do we think anything's going to happen with Chick's novel, or do we think that was just a red herring?
Well, I think there's in the aftermath, there's gonna be like a news broadcast. Like somehow we're gonna find out what's happened to Norman, either if he lives or not. We're gonna find out what happened to Norman, and I think like that the pages are gonna be disclosed to the public. I think they're gonna find out about that. I think Norman's story is gonna get out there. So I think that's how Hogan's thing's gonna.
Okay. Also, keep in mind when they discovered Hogan, they must have discovered like the tapes and at least a sampling of his writing. So.
Yeah, and also with that, by the way, that's kind of gave me the idea of like the whole Romero thing, because he did kill Chick Hogan. He could definitely take the rap for that, which would not bode well for. I'm saying Romero could again take the murder blames for the murder.
Of course. Okay.
Again, I think the fly would be a device to look for because the fly from the movie.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. I guess let's quickly grab Norman's journal if I can find it.
Reach.
I know, right? Crap.
Behind
Is
you.
It behind me?
Well, so, yeah, it was behind you.
Oh, jeez. I'm terribly sorry, folks. Oh, man. Wonderful. It is literally, like, not behind me at all anymore. What the hell?
Call me irresponsible.
I see it.
Call me Mr. Forgettable. Call me Tiki. Call me home for dinner.
I see it. I got it. I'm just navigating my way around like an old person. One sec. Okay, where do you want to start?
Well, let's Blackout. I get Blackout Tally. Let's go to that one. So, folks, the Blackout Tally. Interestingly,
go ahead.
Interestingly, folks, the Blackout Tally is technically a 0 because he doesn't change out of the same blackout.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Oh God. Okay. 0 blackouts. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Check out odds really quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Norman at an 85% this episode because there's ways they can get out of it using the Pine View route, but I think the more likely scenario is him dying. Just think that would tie things up more.
And I think he's going to live, but that's kind of where we're coming down on, so we'll see.
Dylan's at 75%. I very much think he's going to be in the crosshairs. He's going to be the main thing standing between Romero and killing Norman, so that's going to put him at danger.
I think it's amazing how we keep going up and down with Dylan's likelihood of death.
I know, right?
Constantly.
Okay, can I let's go through the 9 episodes we've had of Dylan. Episode 1, he was at 10%. Episode we had that period of time where he wasn't in it really, so we kept on joking like episode 2 he was at 9%. Episode 3 he went up to 10%. Then he went down to 9%. And then this is where it starts fluctuating, Dragon. Episode 5 he goes to 30%. Then episode 6 was 40%. Episode 7 was 55%. Then 60%. Finally, we land on 75% for Dylan. Emma, I like outside of like the shock death of her being at the police station at the wrong time. I think she's good. I think she's safe. She's at a 14% right now. Romero, I definitely think Romero has a better shot of making it through than Norman does, and just for that reason, he's still high up there. He's still at a 65%.
I mean, if there was a knife anywhere, I'd say Romero has to be on his guard, but there's no knife around, so it's kind of Norman's weapon of choice.
Right. And then finally, Madeline, I don't see it happening at all. She goes down to a 25%. Offhand chance, maybe they'll pull something crazy. I don't see it. It. Okay, anyways, Dragon. So final thoughts then.
Final thoughts. Well, I tell you, this is an excellent penultimate episode. It's again, it always boils down to those last few minutes where everything gets exciting and mind blowing. But again, the whole thing was really solid. Again, Emma, she kind of wavered here and there, but again, it's a murky territory. I want to share a brief story here I came across. I think you're going to really appreciate, Tiki. I know you're going to appreciate it because we kind of prepped for this. Freddie Highmore, he did an interview recently. He mentioned, he's taking a lot from the role. It's going to be sad to move on. I think we can all kind of feel where he's coming from on that one. Or it's going to be sad to see all this amazing stuff kind of come to an end. But he mentioned gleefully, and this is why I prepped you for this, is that Highmore is he said after every season, throughout the show, he's always kept his socks.
So there they are. I got them.
So as you can see,
I was wondering, Dragon. I was wondering if you just forgot. I was going to chastise you, but no, there they are.
By the end, of course, it always boils down to.
I've got some black socks you can use.
That's from us, the audience. We're always going to have black socks that Norman or Freddie Highmore can use. I just want to mention that because we're coming to the end. It's kind of nice that he's taking. Not only is he taking away something from the role, he's literally taking something away from the role. So of course, we're going to have more fond farewells in the next one. Just briefly, we're going to miss this a lot. I appreciate that coming up, approaching is the end of our romanticized tragedy. I'm sure tears will be shed, and it'll drive us crazy, good or bad. It's going to drive us crazy.
Yeah, folks, it's crazy to think that Monday night we're gonna get the return of Gotham. We're gonna get the 3rd episode of a great season of Better Call Saul so far, and the end of Bates Motel. Like, that is going to be one hell of a night of TV right there, Dragon.
Like a proud parent. I mean, I'm so proud, but I can't bear to see him go.
I know,
right? Don't go.
No matter how it shakes out, I just I'm definitely planning on making a long, thoughtful Facebook post thanking Carrie Aaron and Vera Farmiga, Freddie Highmore, Carlton Hughes, Max Terriot, everyone, thanking everyone for their hard work and dedication and, and thought that put it in love and talent and everything that got put into the show. It's a wonderful experience. I'm so glad we had the chance to cover 4 seasons of it, Dragon. And
we talked about one. We just didn't go episode by episode.
I know. Anyways, Dragon. So I guess that's about it. I guess you just
wait. Likelihood of mother. Right.
So, right.
Yeah. Are we buying or selling Mother sticking around at the end? So we went through our speculation. So it's kind of.
I would at this point. I'm under the attitude that if Norman dies, then Mother is going to die with her. But having said that, with him, as I said, these pronouns, it's like, folks, I'm not trying to be like insensitive or anything. It's just the pronouns for this. And it's getting very murky and very muddy with, Norman being Mother and whatnot. But anyways, but, me coming down on selling the idea is, like I said, I think if the Mother persona dies, it's going to be because Norman dies, and I don't think we're going to see any sort of severing between Mother and Norman. I just can't see it happening at this stage.
So if I'm right on this, because I'm a little baffled by the buying and selling concept, but
sell.
I want to make sure I am selling because I. See, early on, I thought it was going to be okay. He's going to make an amicable split with Mother, essentially. But now I'm not so sure because again, I was refreshing myself and kind of that interview with Joseph Stefano. I was thinking, well, yeah, the original intention was kind of it was reminded of the ending of Psycho. But, oh yeah, it was really tragic. He says Mother's the one in control. Norman might be dead mentally for all we know. Whatever's going to happen, Norma's going to be. So far, for a few episodes, Norma's been in the driver's seat, and we've said okay, she's going to wake Norman up with pie. But I got to tell you, I mean, that sounds like kind of like a promise that's never going to come true, which doesn't bode well for Norman. So I'm thinking Mother's still going to be in the driver's seat. I'm saying that's the tragic route to go, and this thing's always been a romanticized tragedy. So right now, I'm selling based on that.
Okay. So, like I said, folks, wonderful ride to get here. Great penultimate episode. Maybe not as an explosive of a penultimate episode as we might have been hoping for, Dragon. I think they did the bold choice of basically making this an emotional penultimate episode more than anything else, especially giving Emma her time to shine, which was definitely needed because Emma was like, she was the first friend that Norman made in White Pine Bay. You know what I mean? It's like she was a pivotal cog in this machine for so long that I think it definitely benefited us to get that final farewell with Emma, even at the cost of maybe some more explosive Norman and Nora action.
It's kind of funny. We start just where we were started in the first episode, where right before we met Emma, it was Norman and his mother, and they were at odds with Romero. That's where we're ending
it. Sure. Okay. So I'm just noticing now that my camera is like really messing up. I don't know how long that's been going like that, but we probably should wrap up, Dragon.
Of course, we need to say the secret word. And I picked a real tragic delivery of it too, just the foreshadow thing. So here's a real. Okay, here we go.
Oh, come on!